Well, hey there, my friends. Welcome to my channel. I'm Laura Daniels, and I'm so glad you're here. This is my channel, Ink and Whimsy. It's where we pull together paper, crafts, and a little bit of whimsy to create either double page or single page layouts. We're using a kit from Not Just for Boys. It's called the Not Just for Boys Kit Club. This is the May kit. It's called Gumballs and Swizzle Sticks. I just love that title. It has so many bright colors. Merity just pulls together papers from Echo Park. We have Cartabella here. And this is also Cartabella, and this is called the Mercantile. We're going to be focusing on these colors right here. Look how bright and beautiful they are. And we are going to be documenting the funniest story. And it is about me and my granddaughter, Diana Rose, and the broken Legos. So make sure you're sitting down when you hear this story, because I am telling you, you are going to be cracking up. It is such a funny story. We're going to have some fun. We are going to make a shaker card. I'm excited how it's just going to bring out all of these bright colors here. And here are some of the ephemera pieces. I've cut out some of the circles from this paper right here. And then, of course, I have some of the ephemera and pieces from the sticker sheet, which is right here. And it's about birthdays. So you can use, and this is Echo Park, you can use stickers from here and you're not doing a birthday layout. But it looks perfect with all of the bright colors for Legos. Of course, I have the story. The journaling, I had to really get that down to like a size 8 to be able to fit. And then I have 3 simple pieces of cardstock to create this single page layout. So let me move all this out of the way and we're going to get started and have some fun. Alrighty, I am so excited to put this page together. We are going to do some sprinkling. So let's see how well I can do this. I know I want the sprinkles up in this area right here, so that should be pretty easy. This color is tumbled glass, and really you just tap it on your finger. And yes, I do have something to wipe this off with, especially my own finger. All right, so let's get a wipe and clean that off. Miss Ever Ready, I already have it right here. I know, y'all are just like impressed out of your seats here. Now this story happened last year, June of last year. And I have just been waiting for the perfect scrapbook kit to do something with this and to tell you all this story, because it is just so funny. All right, I'm gonna let this dry for just a second and I'll be back with the story. Well, here we go. Through the magic of YouTube, we're just moving right along as if you all did not have to wait at all for these dots to dry. And here we are. And it is hard to walk away after I've done this because I'm just all set to create, right? So it's like stop, pause, go empty the dishwasher, come back up, and meet you all in YouTube land again. And here we are. There we go. Okay. Now, I cut this from that large piece of paper right here, and basically I just took, like maybe I started here, started going around the circles, and there are some where it's close to the edge and I'm kind of cutting into the other circle, but as the whole entire spread comes together you don't notice that as much. Also, the other thing I wanted to show you is before I lay it down, I went to the edges here and you just kind of pinch your fingers together going around the circle. See how I'm doing that? So it gives more dimension to your paper. And we're going to lay this down. I know nothing is going underneath it because I know what I'm doing. All right, we're going to lay this right here. There we go. And now we have another piece of yellow that we are going to put along the bottom here. I love these bright colors. These are definitely my colors. I do believe these are my colors. They're just happy colors. And I love happy. All right, and then I tore this piece of paper. It's the same on both sides, but see this side you don't see the white core, right? Here's the side you do see the white core. So if you want added dimension and you want more color, then by all means pay attention to how you're tearing the paper for where you want this white core to be. And usually you're tearing down. It's not a usually, you are tearing down. Okay, so here we go. And let's make sure this fits my journaling before I lay it down. Well, would you look at that? Oh my gosh. Let's just move everything up. What a bozo. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're laying this down first. Okay, this is going to go right here. And I'm going to tell you bits of this story as we're moving along because it is just too funny not to share. And I just want y'all to be happy. Right? Right. Okay. So I know this is going to go here. And I know this is going to go here at the half mark. So let's do that. Here we go. Good thing I checked, right? And so it really hadn't stuck to the paper. Oh my gosh, it's these little things. Okay, and then this is going to go right here. Here we go. Now we're on a roll. Oh, it's these little things. All right, so now what I want to do is to plan where these photos are going to go. And this is my granddaughter, Diana Rose. I had gone down to visit them in South Carolina for a weekend. And Diana Rose wanted to watch TV. And she asked Mommy and Daddy, Mommy and Daddy, can we watch TV? Can I watch TV downstairs? And they said no, because we were talking down in the den. Well, then Diana Rose walks halfway up the stairs and then peeks down through the railing. And she goes, Grandma, would you like to come upstairs and watch TV with me? Because she had already asked Mommy and Daddy, and they told her she'd go upstairs. And she goes, I have a very soft couch up there. Well, I mean, how do you turn down your granddaughter when she's asking so sweetly? So I said, okay, Diana Rose, I'll come up with you. So we were watching the Aristocats on TV, and we were playing with her Legos, and she was driving them around on, you know, the little train tracks, and she was building and all that. Well, then Danielle called upstairs, and she goes, Diana, Samantha wants to know if you want to go in the pool. If she can come over, you guys can go in the pool together. Well, Dwayne and Danielle have a pool. Diana Rose was very excited, so she looked at me. I said, yeah. I said, let's just pick up a little bit because we got to pick up your toys. So we were picking up, and we were on the last Lego set that needed to be put up on the shelf. I said, all right, Diana Rose. I said, I have this. I said, you go on downstairs so Mommy can help you get your swimsuit on and everything. So she raced downstairs. Now, this is where the funny story starts. Oh, now let me focus. Y'all know I have a hard time focusing and telling the story at the same time. Goodness. So I'm going to lay down these letters while I'm telling this part of the story. I'm going to try to do it in bits so y'all can follow along. And I am going to start from this end and work backwards, because on the last one that I did, I started over here and I ran out of room. I had to stop the camera. All right, so Diana Rose is downstairs, right? And she's getting her swimsuit on. She's just all excited. And Grandma is upstairs putting the last Lego house up on the bookshelf. And wouldn't you know, I pick it up. I'm walking over to the bookshelf, and the thing falls apart, drops to the floor in a gazillion pieces. And I stand there looking at it. Now, my son is all into Legos. He's in his 30s now, but he used to love them when he was little. And this is something him and Diana Rose love doing together. And I looked at the floor and all of those pieces. Well, I sat down with the glasses on my head, and I'm there trying to put it all together. I'm starting to sweat because I cannot put it together. I'm going, what piece goes where? After about, excuse me, 10 minutes of trying to figure this out, I told myself, I need to go downstairs and I need to tell my granddaughter. So I walked down with my head down. I felt like I was in trouble or something. And I stand in front of Diana Rose. I think Danielle was putting some sunscreen on her. I said, Diana Rose, I said, Grandma has something to tell you. And she got real serious and she looked at me. I said, Diana, I said, I was putting the Lego house away. I said, I dropped it and it fell into all these pieces. I need your help. Well, she got very serious. She stopped Mommy from finishing putting her hair up, and she looked at me in all seriousness, and she grabbed my hand, and she says, I'll help you, Grandma. And we walked upstairs. Still the funny part's coming, right? So we get upstairs, and if you had seen us sitting on the floor, you would have seen a 63-year-old and a 5-year-old sitting Indian style on the floor, heads butted together, putting every piece together. And she'd go, no, not that way, Grandma. How about this one, Diana? Let's put this one right here. And we were assembling it bit by bit. And out of the blue, she says to me, and I'm telling you, she was so serious. She says to me, we are so in trouble. Oh my gosh. I could barely hold it in. I was ready to just start laughing. God bless her, because in her world, this was a very big deal, right? In Diana Rose's world, her 5-year-old little world, she knew that we were just going to be in a lot of trouble for what we did. So I tried not to laugh, and I said to her, I said, well, Diana, I said, I think it's going to be okay, baby. It was an accident, and we're putting it together. She goes, no, Grandma, I have got to tell Daddy. So she wanted to right away get up, and on the second floor is where the master bedroom is. And my son was laying down, resting his eyes. Whole nother story. He had scratched his eye. So he had his eyes closed. I didn't know if he was napping or not. And Diana Rose was, I got to go tell Daddy. Hold on, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story because it just gets so funny. Let me think about what I am doing here, right? Okay, I want this right here. And now I put this on a dimensional to give it a little dimension, and we're going to kind of pinch up the edges just by bringing your nails together and turning it up. It says 100% priceless, which this story is. There's that one. And then here is one of those bottle caps. And I put a little dimensional on the back there. All right. So again, I'm trying not to laugh because God bless her, she was just so sad. She was thinking she was going to be in a lot of trouble, right? So she wanted to tell Daddy. And how can you relax and have fun in the pool if hanging over your head is you broke a Lego building and Daddy doesn't know about it? I'm using a distress tool by Tim Holtz to go around the edges. Now what I did is I cut some of these out individually, fussy cut them out, and I want to bring some dimension onto the top of this. So we put the last piece in the Lego house. We had gotten it all together. It looked rather good, and I had fun sitting on the floor with her putting it together. Well, she gets up, she goes, Grandma, I got to tell Daddy. I said, well, Diana Rose, I said, wait, Daddy, he's resting. He hurt his eyes. I said, why don't you just wait and tell him later? She goes, no, Grandma, I got to tell him now. And she got up, and you would think she was walking to go to prison or something. She was walking real slow. Her head is down, and she had her hand on the doorknob, and she had started to turn it slowly. And I'm still sitting over there in the den. And Danielle had come upstairs at this point because she had heard the story. And I said, okay, Diana, I said, you tell Daddy. I said, but, and I paused for just a second because this was a grandma about to have a whole bunch of fun. I said, but tell Daddy you broke it. Oh my gosh. This little 5-year-old with her hand on the knob, turning it slowly, and her grandma telling her she had to tell her Daddy that she did it. Her hand fell off of that doorknob, and she turned around, and she faced me so quickly, and she goes, I did not. Well, at this point, I just burst out laughing because I was having so much fun with her. I go, Diana Rose, I said, Grandma's only kidding. I said, you tell Daddy that I broke it, and I think everything's going to be okay. And then Danielle was laughing at this point too. So Diana, the rest of the story is, She goes in there, she tells my son Dwayne, her daddy, what happened, and when she walks out of that room, she is a totally different little girl. She has a smile on her face, she is happy. I said, what did Daddy say, Diana Rose? And she goes, he said it was okay and that it was just an accident. I said, okay. I said, well, that's good to know. And then she went out and played in the pool. So I think it's fun. And I hope that Diana Rose remembers these stories. And this is why I wanted to create the single page layout. So one day when she's older and I forget all the little bits of the story, or she's forgotten it happened, she can read this. Because at the very bottom I said, Grandma loves you bunches, Diana Rose, and I'm glad we can play together. And I have the date. All right. Now, we are going to make a shaker card because I thought it'd be so much fun when you think of all the little bits and pieces with the Legos, right? Now, this is just a frame from one of the ephemera pieces, and I took out the center because it was one of those punch things. The first thing you always want to do is get your piece of acetate and stick it to the back of your frame, right? Because that's what you're going to see through. So you need to do that first before you cut and put the dimensionals on the back. And I say this because I did not do that correctly. I just put these directly on the frame and I hadn't even put the acetate. So, you know. All right. Then we're going to take out, now these, not just for boys in their shop, they have all different kinds of these and they are so pretty. Now these are the actual half pearls, but they also have little jars of this of all these different sequins and colors. So you need to check out the shop. You will love these. All right. Now I'm going to pour them in. Just a few. I don't want a whole bunch. You know, and I should stick a few of these in and around the paper, right? That would look good. All right, so let's peel these off now. And I'm going to save you from myself. I will be right back. Oh my gosh. Okay, remember me dropping the Lego house? Let me tell y'all something. These things, oh my gosh. I would touch that end, I'd get all sticky with my finger and the dimensional tape, and then I couldn't move it, and I'd jostle it, and all the beads fell out, and oh my gosh, I need a glass of wine after this. So, tip number one, because y'all are going to learn from my mistakes, right? Dump them out right here so that you can pick them up. Tip number two, these big ones don't really fit in there because I didn't want to make the dimensionals that thick. And tip number 3423, use long, you know how you can buy the dimensional tape that's long. You're not cutting all these different pieces, because by the time I would peel one little piece off, my finger would stick, it would flip it over, all of them came out. I was just reliving the Lego story over and over and over again. Now let's see. All right, that looks pretty. I don't think that I would use these beads in it because I wish they could be flipped over, but I still think it looks good. Oh my gosh. All right, y'all. I think that it was fun. I'm glad I did it. I think next time I'll have learned some lessons. I do like all the little jewels, and I love the interaction of it. We're going to put on some last touches right here, and then I would love to hear if you love playing with Legos. And if you do, is it something you grew up playing with the Legos, or is it something you started playing with the grandkids? I love the creativity of it. A granddaughter absolutely loves it. My son, he had boxes of them. So yeah, I would love to hear that. What are your thoughts on Legos? We have one more final piece, and you can see on this layout that I put some of the pearl drops with glue dots around the page to bring out not only just the thought of Legos all over the place, but also to complement this little shaker box that we did down here. Now I put this bottle of soda on some dimensionals, so it adds a little bit more. All right, my friends, until we meet again, God bless. Have an incredible day. Thanks again for spending time with me. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.